Good afternoon, dear friends at various 18 centers in the country and about 10 participants at this institute. My name is Dr. Sunil Dutt, basically postgraduate in chemistry, and there I've shifted to education, did my post-graduation and PhD in education technology, all from Punjab University, Chandigarh. I am working as Professor of Education and Education Management since 2011, and I joined this institution in 1992. To my credit, 32 PhD dissertation registered with Punjab University, Chandigarh, and I have also got published about 49 papers in various national and international journals, and got published 4 books on in the area of education technology. Now coming to the present topic. As you know, this particular course is on research methodology, and research is a process. It's a systematic process. It's a scientific process. And in the previous session, my colleague might have discussed with you the process of research. Let me give you in 1 minute again the process. Friends, the research begins with a felt need, that is the problem, and the central piece of central part of central element in any piece of research work is the problem. Once the problem has been identified and adequately defined, the systematic and scientific process of making observations can be smoothly carried out. And from the analysis of the data so collected, some of the findings can be expected in anticipation of finding a solution to the problem. So the important element in the research process is the problem, because how you can solve a problem if you do not know what the problem is. So this session is about identifying the problem, defining the problem, and formulating the research hypothesis. So before that, let me give one very interesting meaning of the words research and the researcher. What is research? Research means what we are doing when we do not know what we are doing. Okay, it means there is no one solution to a problem. You have to analyze the problem in terms of various dimensions. It means there could be number of possible hypotheses to a bigger problem. So you are doing when you do not know what you are doing. And who is a researcher? Researcher is a person who knows more and more about less and less until he knows everything about nothing. So very interesting definition of a research and a researcher. If you look at the meaning of the term research in the Oxford Encyclopedia English Dictionary, it is a systematic investigation into the study of material or sources in order to establish the facts and reach new conclusions. It is an endeavor to discover new or collate old facts by the scientific study of a subject or by a course of critical investigation. So research means searching for a clarifying explanation of an observed phenomenon, or it is finding a solution to an existing problem in the workplace, or it could be solving the existing problem again by varying the method, by varying the sample, by varying the you can say statistical techniques, or by varying the design, by varying the variables. So you can also take up the existing problem also, which you have already solved, but you can vary the method, design, or procedure, variables, sample, statistical tool to make it a unique study or to make it a new problem. So search for knowledge. It is any systematic investigation with an open mind. That is, you will not come to the conclusion at the first instance. You have to look the problem from many angles. It means you need to analyze, you need to break down the problem into its component, into its constituent parts, and then you will look for solution to those component parts, and then you will lead to the attainment of the main, you can say, problem. So the way by which we solve problems that bother us in the workplace, for example, in 1 minute, let me give you an overview of research process. Research begins with the selection of a problem and then defining the problem adequately. Because the large part of solution to the problem lies in knowing precisely what the problem is. After all, how you can solve a problem if you do not know what the problem is? And a researcher can define the problem correctly only if he knows what the problem is. And not only does a problem have to be identified, but before the research can begin to take the shape, the problem has to be analyzed. That is, it has to be broken into its constituent parts and its dimensions. You have to specify. So the first step is selecting and defining the research problem. And in this regard, a review of literature will help you for the selection of the problem and for defining the problem, research questions, and research hypothesis. After you have selected the topic and adequately defined it, the next task required of the researcher is to make useful observations. You have to collect the data. For this, you have to select the research design, which is suiting to the nature and purpose of your study. You have to select suitable sample by using the suitable sampling technique. You have to develop instruments for the collection of the data. That is the methodology part. After the tools are identified, sample is selected, now you go for the collection of the data. You administer the instruments, record the data, score the data, and tabulate it for the analysis. After you have analyzed the data on the basis of certain statistical tools, you arrive at valid conclusion. So research is a systematic process. It's a scientific process. That is, you do not conclusion in one go. You have to employ a systematic process. Now, core of research is the problem. Now, the question is what a problem is. Problem is the gap between what you want to do and what you actually do. It is the deviation from the standard or from the norm. Okay, a perceived gap between the existing state and a desired state, or a deviation from a norm, standard, or a status quo. Or you can say problem is a question that is raised for inquiry, consideration, or for solution. It is some difficulty which a researcher experiences in the context of either a theoretical or conceptual situation and wants a solution for it. For example, you are teaching your students arc welding, and you have observed that some students have performed the task very well, while others were not able to perform to a minimum level of acceptance. Now, you think that there is some problem. Either the students want more time, or you have not given the correct equipment to all the students, or you have not given enough time to the students for practicing. It means you need to look for the solution to this problem. That's why some of the students are not performing very well on the task. So that is bothering the teacher. So it exists when the individual or the group having one or more desired outcomes. You are confronted with two or more courses of action. You need to carry out research. You need to select the one course of action which is cost effective, which can solve the problem very well, which is not going to adversely affect the other parties. So decision making only can be carried out after you have solved the problem. Let me give you one or two examples. Mr. Ramesh prepared a paper on modularized instruction after reviewing literature on the subject available in his college library and called it a piece of research. He says it is a research. It is not research. It is simply compiling the paper. Had he studied the effect of modularized instruction on the achievement of students, then it could be a problem of research. Okay. Another is that Miss Mala says that she has researched and completed a document which gives information about the age, qualification, teaching and industrial experience of all the engineering college teachers in her state. And she says that I have carried out the research. This is not a research work, simply compilation of data. Had she investigated the relationship between the teaching experience and age, or between the teaching experience and the performance of the students, then it could have become a research problem. Another is Mr. Anil participated in a workshop on curriculum development and prepared what he calls a research report on the curriculum for building engineers. And he did this through a literature survey on the subject and by discussing with the participants of the workshop. It's not a piece of research work. It is simply preparing a report or preparing the proceedings of the workshop, because curriculum design is a systematic process. You have to first of all identify the attributes or the competencies required of a particular, you can say, category of engineers, say civil engineer, mechanical engineer, electrical engineer. All these engineers require different types of capabilities. You need to correlate these competencies with the requirement of the industries. So the curriculum design is a systematic process. So you have to employ the research process. So it means you have gone through the literature and you have found the problem in its broader format. Now, how to convert general problem situation into a research problem? Very important capability required of a researcher. So problem situation, broad situation, you have gone through that. I will be doing research in, say, cloud computing. It's a broad area. Now you have to narrow it down. Okay. So for finding solution to the problem, you will prepare a list of possible contributing factors and explanations. For example, say I am teaching engineering drawing to the students. I have noticed that students' drawing ability is not up to the mark. Now I can formulate certain possible contributing factors, like the drawing instruments are not properly calibrated, the teacher's own handwriting while drawing on the chalkboard is not up to the mark, teacher is not giving sufficient time to the students, teacher is not giving feedback to the students on the drawing they have prepared. So number of possible factors, because all these might have contributed to the problem. So prepare a preliminary list of possible contributing factors and describe the explanation. It means you will do brainstorming, and you will also review the literature that will help you prepare a preliminary list of possible factors. That is how others have carried out this kind of research work. So then you will eliminate the irrelevant facts and you will move to the list of possible relevant facts, and you will write the explanation. That is, you will identify the variables, okay, formulate basic assumption theory, and then you will arrive at the specific problem which you are going to solve by employing a research design. So this is how a general problem situation can be converted into a research problem. Now, let me give you 2-3 terms, because I will be using these terms. One is the constant. Constant is a characteristic or a condition that is same for all individuals in a study. For example, my topic is to study the effect of computer assisted instruction on achievement of students in digital electronics. So what I am doing, I have taken one experimental group and I will also have one control group. The experimental group will be exposed to computer assisted instruction package, whereas the control group would be given instruction through, say, traditional lecture method. Now the content would be same to both the groups. So content is constant. I'm keeping the content constant. So here content would be constant, only the methodology. So that is why I call it a variable also. Variable means that score varies. So variable is a characteristic that takes on different values or conditions for different individuals in a study. Now, मैंने जो अभी एग्जांपल दिया, effectiveness of computer assisted instruction on achievement of students in digital electronics. One
Hello.
is mode of instruction. That is the variable.
Hello.
Anji, hello.
Can you go back to the previous slide, sir?
Previously.
Can you go a little bit slow?
Huh. So
Because many of them are.
this slide, na?
Yeah.
Huh. So first of all, you have got some idea. And that idea is very vague in your mind. For that, you go to library, search various journals, and you read literature on that particular idea, and you also say formulate the problem, which is not very specific, and you prepare a list of possible factors that contribute to that problem. I have given you 1 or 2 examples, like students' drawing abilities is not up to the mark. So teacher can say identify factors that contribute to poor handwriting abilities or poor drawing ability in the class. Okay, so brainstorming, you can discuss with your colleagues. You can also review the literature, and then finally you will eliminate the irrelevant fact, because some of the factors might have been already discussed in some of the papers. So you are not going to say experiment it again. Okay, so then you will prepare a list of probable facts which are relevant, and you also identify the variables. On the basis of relevant facts, you formulate a basic assumption, that is a theory, and from that theory you arrive at the problem definition. So you come to the research problem. Now, a constant is a characteristic or condition that is same for all individuals in a study. For example, effect of modularized instruction on achievement of students in cloud computing. Now in this particular example, the content, because for this particular study I will be using the experimental research method. So I will have one group which will be exposed through modularized instruction, and the second group is the control group, because I would be comparing the achievement of students trained through modularized instruction with students who were taught through conventional method. So control group, but both the groups would be exposed to the same content. So content is same in both the groups, but the methodology of imparting instruction would vary. Okay, so constant is something which will remain constant in all the groups, whereas variable is a characteristic that takes on different values or conditions for different individuals in a study. For example, condition is different in case of experimental group, because that group I am exposing through modularized instruction, and the control group is being taught through conventional method. Their scores would be different. Okay, every student will get different marks on the achievement test, so their score would be vary. So that is a variable. So then you need to define those variables in your thesis, in your dissertation. You have to give the operational definition. For example, if you look at the meaning of the word force in the dictionary, you will find different meanings. Now you have to explain the context in which that is to be used. Okay, because force as adjective has got something meaning is different, force as verb is different, and so on. So for example, if I say effect of modularized instruction on achievement of students in digital electronics, so I have to explain, I have to define the word modularized instruction. What do I mean by modularized instruction in my thesis? What do I mean by achievement as far as my topic is concerned? What do I mean by digital electronics in my thesis? You have to give the operational definition of these terms, because these may have got different connotations. So you have to define the terms in your thesis or in your problem. Now the variable is something that varies, as I have already told you. Researcher attempts to understand how and why differences in one variable are related to differences in another variable. Now you recollect the problem which I have told you just now. Effect of CAI package on achievement of students in digital electronics. So I am going to study the effect of CI, that is CI is the treatment variable. I want to study its effect on the dependent variable, that is the achievement, how the students would get marks when they are exposed to different strategies. So ask a question about the relationship between one or more dependent variable or a dependent variable. Independent variable, the variable that has the presumed effect on the dependent variable. It is manipulated by the researcher. Say treatment to one group, CA package, to other group, conventional. So teacher is manipulating. Okay. Second one is the dependent variable, is the consequence or the presumed effect that varies with the change in the independent variable. Naturally, students would get different marks when they are exposed to different strategies. So it is not manipulated. It is simply observed, because independent variable you have manipulated, that is the content you have identified. To one group you have given instruction through CI package, to the other group you have given instruction through the traditional method. Okay, after say one topic is over, you are giving both the groups an achievement test based upon that particular topic. Okay, so treatment is varying, whereas the dependent variable is the achievement, and achievement every student would get different marks in the achievement test. Now coming to the research problem, it is a topic we would like to address. We would like to investigate or study whether descriptively or experimentally, because the Dr. S.P. Bedi might have discussed you the various research methods. So there could be a variety of research method. It is the focus or reason for engaging in our research, and it's a topic, it's a phenomenon or a challenge that we are interested in and with which we are at least somewhat familiar applications. first and foremost step in the research process, identification of a research problem. For a novice, it is very difficult. Okay, so you have to look for various sources of problem you will study. So difficult for an inexperienced researcher or a novice or a beginner to conceptualize a research problem.
Hello.
Coming to
Hello.
the sources of problem. Hanji,
1 minute.
Hanji, please.
Sir, can you go a little bit slow? Because
Actually, the time is very less, but I am slow. I am not very fast. Okay, we'll take up questions at the end. So I'll be very slow. Okay, now you are going to select a research problem. First of all, let us know what are the sources of problem, from where we can find hint for the research problem. One is the personal, practical experiences.
Sir, once the slide is completed, just if you give few seconds, at least people will take a photograph of it and will be able to go through it once again.
After this session is over, we are going to give you the PDF of this particular slide, PDF of this particular PPT.
Okay, I think it's very, very fast. People are not able to
Okay,
follow.
Okay. So first source of problem is personal, practical or teaching experiences. Can you think of a situation? I have already given you two situations. One is you recollect that you are teaching arc welding to your students, and you have observed that some of your students performed very well, and some of students were not able to perform the task to a minimum acceptance level. Because as a teacher, you want that your students should perform to a minimum acceptance level, and some students are not able to perform. So you feel that there is some problem. You feel what is wrong. You are puzzled, and then you do some kind of brainstorming, or you consult with your friends, colleagues, what could be the possible reasons, and you prepare a list of possible reasons. So practical, personal experience. Okay, this is one source of problem. How do technical teachers' comment affect student performance, or what effect does student choice of content have on the marking of essay questions in digital electronic course? This could be another problem of research. Okay, so these you might come across while teaching in the classroom or while teaching in a practical classroom. So classroom, laboratory, even institution, community, textbook. Can you think of a problem in a textbook? Yes. The quality of illustrations in a textbook, quality of language in the textbook, quality of say the sequencing in the textbook. Okay, whether the textbook is going to achieve the objectives stated in each chapter. You want to do the content analysis of a textbook. You can also do the content analysis of a question paper, because you come across a variety of question paper and you find very big gaps in the question paper. So you prepare a criteria on which the question paper would be analyzed. So these are the practical problems or the personal problem you might have experienced. Okay, this is one source of problem. Another source of problem could be critical study of literature. Now you want to do ME thesis or PhD thesis. The first question your guide would say to you, go to library and first of all identify the broader area. After having found interest in a particular area, he will tell you to study the review, to review the literature on that particular topic. Okay, So electronic databases are available, library indexes, web pages, internet library. So all these materials are available online also. For example, is there a significant difference between achievement of students taught through multimedia and traditional teaching? You want to teach your students with the help of multimedia. Now, is there any positive effect of multimedia on achievement of students you want to see? For this purpose, you will review the literature. What are the findings? How they have carried out this kind of research? How does classroom climate, whether authoritarian or democratic, affect the acquisition of practical skills? This could be another problem. Okay, this could be a problem which is very much interesting to some teachers. Another source of problem is your interaction with your colleagues while participating in a seminar, conference. In a conference, you find number of papers are being presented and you got fascinated to one of the problems, how he or she has carried out, what are the findings. So conference, meetings, workshops, in-service courses, for example, this type of course you are attending, some idea would come in your mind. Can I solve this problem? Can I solve that problem? Out of class exchange of ideas with fellow colleagues, fellow students, professors, etc. So this is another source of problem for solution. For example, are the needs of community reflected in the course being offered at a local engineering college? This could be a problem of research. How have changes in the administrative structure affected the role of administrators? Another problem for research. This is through interaction. Another source of problem is technological advancement, social changes which demand development of new courses, which demand development of the curriculum, revision of the curriculum. You have found that the students taught in the civil engineering class of your institution are not being accepted by the world of work. What could be the reason? What are the gaps? This could be a problem of research. So this is a list of research problems which you can take from technical education system: teaching methodologies, curriculum, physical environment, classroom size, noise levels, availability equipment, learning environment. It could be distance education, technological innovation, support system, expectations and attitudes, and non-academic areas. So some of these you can take up one of these areas and do little bit of action research and can publish papers. Now, criteria for selecting a research problem. Very difficult. You see, very difficult for a novice researcher or inexperienced teacher. How to select a research problem, or what should be the criteria for the selection of a problem? One is interest. How fascinating. By being interested, you are more likely to read widely on the topic. Say my friend is working on mathematical modeling, okay, but I have got no interest in that area. Then I will not go for that particular area. I will try to carry out research work in the area in which I am interested. Okay. So, because if you are interested, your willingness would be high, you would be more dedicated, you would be more committed, but it is not a sufficient criteria. You are working on a problem in which many authors have already worked out, or many authors have already carried out number of studies. then you need not duplicate the study. You can take up a new area. First, study that area in depth, study you can carry out. Okay, and then you can say have courage to select that particular topic. So first is interest. Second criteria is the size, magnitude of the work involved. Sometimes the problem seems to be very large and it is very difficult to complete that problem. Say if you are working, if you are studying for your MTech program, you have got only 6 months for completing the dissertation work. So you have to narrow down the topic. You have to narrow down to the manageable component of the research. Say I say effect of computer assisted instruction on achievement of students in digital electronics. Very large study, because digital electronics is being taught at graduate level and postgraduate level. It means I have to delimit it. There are large number of engineering colleges, there are large number of polytechnics. Can I study all the sample? No, I don't have much resources, I don't have much time. Can I delimit to a particular state? And again, in a particular state, there are about 150 engineering colleges or polytechnics. Okay, can I delimit to say 4 or 6? How I have to select 4 or 6 engineering institution? Which sampling technique I have to employ? So size is very important. You have to narrow the topic down to something which you can manage very easily, and you have to specify it. You have to make it very clear that my research work is limited to, you are delimited to so much, or these areas. You have to specify. Another problems are macro in size. For example, investigating changing role of engineering education in the countries of the world. Very big study, world level. Can you narrow down to say the state of Punjab or Haryana, like that? So avoid subjects whose scope is too narrow or vague. Usko bhi mat lijiye. Another is economy. You see, researchers are often confronted with the practical constraints in terms of time, in terms of money, in terms of availability of data. For example, you want to study the quality management practices being followed in the electronics industries of say India. Then can I collect the data from the electronics industries? Am I known to some of the electronics industries? Will they allow me? Okay, you have to, before finalizing topic, you have to think about all these components. ये नहीं कि topic select कर लिया, उसके बाद you will find number of problems while collecting the data. Can I develop the instrument for the for measuring the quality management practices being followed in electronics industries in India? So availability of data, facilities. You have thought of developing some design, and for which you require variety of equipment. Can you get those equipment? Can you get some grant for say developing the equipment? Will you get support from your employer, etc.? And then there is feasibility. It is that can be investigated, can be research be investigated through collection or analysis of data. The subject, are you familiar? Is the study feasible? so that research material or sources of research are within one's reach. Researchers' capabilities and limitations. Every researcher has his own strengths and weaknesses. You have to identify, can I contribute significantly in a particular area? So your level of expertise, it means as a researcher, you need to know yourself and the limitations of your experience, your ability, your capacity, as well as your supervisor's capacity. Because you go to the supervisor, I want to work in this area. He says, this is not my area. Okay, but you are insisting him or her to say in that particular area. So वो wholeheartedly आपको support नहीं provide करेगा. So you need to ask questions like, am I equipped in terms of experience and knowledge to carry out the research? Does this study fall within the constraints of the budget? Will I get necessary cooperation from those who must participate in the research as subjects? And have I conducted a preliminary study or the exploration of issue problem at hand? So do not encroach on areas beyond your authority. So identify your strengths and weaknesses. And there is uniqueness. A researcher would not want to spend time, energy, and money researching a problem of the problem if the answer to the problem already exists. That is, you need not duplicate the study. You can duplicate the study by varying the method, by varying the research design, selecting new sample, selecting different equipment, selecting different statistical techniques. So you ask one question, will it contribute something new to the body of existing knowledge? आप repeat कर रहे हैं library के shelf में रखने के लिए. It's not our you say the purpose. What features of the research make it very distinct or different from what has already been done? Because we have found that many MTech theses are being carried out again and again, being duplicated. For example, somebody has done research in some area in say Gurgaon. Same topic is being taken by another student in say Punjab, because there is no agency which is checking the credibility of all these topics. So avoid a subject that has been overdone, for it will be difficult to throw any light in such a case. Many research studies have been carried out. There is no scope, but you are fascinated in carrying out work in that area. Then you have to look for the national priorities. Sometimes you are submitting a research proposal to AICT or say Ministry of Science and Technology. What are their priority areas? You need to address to those priority areas. You cannot submit any proposal because they will be asking for specific proposal in specific area. So urgency of an issue, whether the matter is very urgent, problem is very urgent, availability of research funds, availability of supervisor is another criteria of selection of a research problem. Ethical issues, like how ethical issues can affect the study and how ethical problems can be overcome, should be thoroughly examined while identifying a problem. Say one student is interested in investigating the effect of EEG on humans. You need to take permission from the medical board, because it's a problem of ethical issue. Controversial subjects should be avoided by the researcher. Management support is also needed, because you have selected a topic for which you will not have any say computational support or management support. You need to identify variables, and you need to delimit the variables, because there are a large number of variables. You have to identify which variables I am going to take in my study. So question is, why define the research problem? Defining your destination before beginning a journey, because if you do not know where you are going in the beginning, you will never get there. So while identifying and finalizing a topic, you need to ask 3 questions. First question is, where am I going? What is the broader topic? What are the objectives? Second question is, how will I get there? Methodology. And third question is, how will I know when I have arrived? That is, you will look for feedback from various sources. So it determines what you will do, will it withstand scientific scrutiny, how you will do it, and what you may achieve. Now coming to steps in formulating a research question. Firstly, initial question, broad question. Literature review based on initial question. That will help you finalize your topic. Then refine the research question. Does the scope of your research question need to be limited? If necessary, break down the research question into sub-problems. It means you have number of research questions. So research question is a problem which is stated in a question form. But in most of universities, you will find research problem which is stated in the statement form. So it could be a research question, it could be a research problem. Okay. So identify broad area, narrow down the area, look at websites, journals, other print publications in order to learn about your subcategory of interest. Always consider the environment, the surrounding. Then identify who is concerned with the problems and talk to the people involved. Say, I have got one supervisor. Under his supervision, I am pursuing, say, PhD program. I can discuss the problem with other professors also. They can also give us different viewpoints. That will help you refine your research problem. So identify gaps and develop a set of questions. Now, एक मैं example लेता हूँ. Say, suppose that a research problem in a broad general way is as follows. Please read it. Why do Punjabi entrepreneurs lag behind other business communities? Now, this question is very vague. Number of ambiguities. Who is an entrepreneur? Because you look at, why do Punjabi entrepreneurs lag behind other business communities? Who is an entrepreneur? Who is a Punjabi? Which are the other communities in business? Are we speaking of a specific business or all business? Do self-employed professionals like lawyers and doctors fall in the category of business? Not clear, because the statement was very vague. Define success and failure in business. What is the scope of inquiry in terms of area? Are we looking at one district of Ludhiana in Punjab, a few neighboring districts of Ludhiana, or entire state of Punjab? Because the problem kya tha? Why do Punjabi entrepreneurs lag behind other business communities? Now how would you explore the topic? Firstly, ask question from yourself. What made you think of it? What is your perception about the problem? Why do you think it is a problem? Whose problem is it? Who would you talk to about this problem? Has something been written on it? Where would you find data, reports, etc. to help you understand the topic better? Whose experience do you think would be of help in understanding the problem? What are the different perspectives to the same problem? And talk to whom? Yourself, your friends, your family, your teachers, economists, sociologists, entrepreneurs, professionals, writers, editors, icons within the community, business association and groups. Then you have to read what? Member directories of all registered business trading associations to find out obvious Punjabian names and those from other communities. Now the problem may be redefined as a comparative study of the ability to take risk, sources of seed capital, time taken to expand the size of the business, nature of debt, and the ratio of profit to capital investment between the Punjabi speaking entrepreneurs and the Hindi speaking entrepreneurs in Ludhiana, with specific focus on entrepreneurs involved in garments and footwear. Now this is, you see how this problem is made very specific. You are comparing the ability to take risk between the Punjabi speaking entrepreneurs and Hindi speaking entrepreneurs in the state of Ludhiana. You are comparing the sources of seed capital being taken by Punjabi speaking entrepreneurs and Hindi speaking entrepreneurs, and you have also delimited the entrepreneurs to garments and footwear area. Now the topic is very much specific. Now you can development of a tool or data. So writing and defining a research problem, I have already discussed, identify broad area and so on. Now, this is the topic. Effect of video assisted instruction and computer based concept mapping on achievement in mathematics in relation to emotional intelligence and attitude towards technology. Now, I have broken down this topic into 6-7 components, and for each component I have written one objective. So you will find 6-7 objectives which lead to the attainment of this bigger problem. Now what are the objectives? One objective could be to study the effect of different instruction strategies on achievement of students in mathematics. One, to study the differences in achievement of students in mathematics with different levels of emotional intelligence. To study the differences in achievement of students in mathematics with different levels of attitude. So I have taken into consideration all the combinations. So all would be the objectives. Another, an investigation into the student use of e-books in a university. What could be the objectives? First of all, objective would be to review the literature concerning the student uptake and experience of e-books in academic libraries. This is one objective. to investigate the perceptions and attitude towards e-books and usage of e-books in the university. Third objective could be to compare the usage statistics between various user groups. For example, full-time students, part-time students, and then you can also go for specific course type, etc. Even gender you can take, male, female. And then to identify, if any, improvements or alterations required to facilitate a high service quality provision in relation to the e-book service in the university library. So for one problem you have 4 objectives. मैंने ये 4 objective कैसे लिए? I have broken down, I have analyzed the problem area into 4 components. Okay, you can also think of other subcategories and you can formulate the objectives. So now coming to defining a research problem. So a problem clearly stated is a problem half solved, because you know how to do. Because if the problem is very specific, okay, and the problem has got say 5 components: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound, SMART objective. Okay, so problem clearly stated is a problem half solved. So stating the problem, you can state in the form of a question, or you can state in the form of a descriptive or declarative sentence. For example, question form: what effect has the CAI had on the knowledge and skill acquisition of digital electronics at degree level? Problem is written in a question form. Now the same problem is being written in the statement form, declarative sentence: a study of effect of CAI on the knowledge and skill acquisition of digital electronics at degree level. So you can write problem in a question form, or you can also state the problem in a sentence form, declarative, because every university has his own guidelines. So, or you are submitting the proposal to some agencies which may require you to write research questions, or they may ask you to write the objectives of your research. Okay, so question form or statement form. The terms used in this statement should be very much clear, specific. Avoid unnecessary words. For example, if I say study the effect of CAI on achievement of students of 3rd year engineering in digital electronics being taught in the engineering colleges of Punjab state. Very लंबा टॉपिक हो गया. ये जो पोर्शन मैंने लिखा 3rd year engineering and engineering college of Punjab state, they can be taken in the text that the problem will be limited to this. So you can make it very specific. बहुत crisp short form में होना चाहिए जो आपका statement, problem statement है. Avoid value statements. For example, should automobile engineering students be involved in an industrial attachment scheme? It's a value. Now you can make it more effective. What effect does an industrial attachment scheme have on performance of students in an automobile engineering course? Okay, or you can write, how do engineering students perceive the introduction of industrial attachment scheme in automobile engineering? So avoid value statements. Avoid dichotomous questions, question with answer yes or no. Do automotive engineering students need an industrial attachment scheme period included in their training course? So this is not a good research question. Avoid problems related to moral, ethical issues like, are remedial classes bad for engineering graduates? Should technical students exercise their rights? These are not researchable problems. Philosophical issues like what is meant by democracy? It's not research. Okay. Theological issues like which religious groups you belong or your people of the state belong. Now writing research questions. It investigates a specific component of a broader topic area. It is a question you are trying to answer when you do research on a topic. So identify a research question is a process and takes time. You first of all identify key terms in a research question. For example, how can you motivate employees during times of organizational change? So you have identified two terms. One is motivate employees. Second is organizational change. Now, एक और example दे रहा हूं for writing research questions. Are the fitting and machining skills of mechanical diploma holders up to the skill level required by local industry? Now, you are analyzing this problem in terms of skills of mechanical diploma holders, skills required by the industry, and similarities between these two. Okay? Now you will formulate research questions. What level of fitting and machining skills are being taught in the institution A? First of all, you want to do the status study. What type of fitting and machining skills are being taught? Second, skills required by the industry. What level of fitting and machining skills are required by local industry in community A? Then third is you are comparing. Is there a difference between what is taught and what is needed by industry in terms of fitting and machining skills? This is how ऊपर वाला जो है are the fitting and machining problems of mechanical diploma holder up to the level required by local industry. This is the bigger research question, that is the research topic. और उसके आपने 3 objectives बना दिए और research question बना दिए. If they are written in the statement form, then they are objectives. Since they are written here in the question form, so these are called as research questions. You can also review the variables. For example, what are the impacts of linkages existing between a technical institute and the industry for the implementation of institutional programs? Now you can identify the variables in this particular problem. The variable could be the impact. Impact could be employment, curriculum content, skill, performance, facilities, and the linkages. Linkages could be, because आप देखिए इसमें 2 हैं. One is the impact, second is the linkages. On the job training, funding, communication, etc. So the research question would be, what funding linkages exist between technical institute A and industry? Second question would be, what communication linkages exist between technical institute A and industry? Now, you can also think of hints or guesses of results. For example, topic is, what is the effect of multimedia on the performance of degree students in teaching geometrical drawing? What is the hinge? Hunch is students may be more motivated by multimedia, okay, and multimedia may better explain some drawing concepts. These could be the guesses of the results, okay. On the basis of these 2 guesses or hunches, the research questions would be, will multimedia significantly motivate degree students? Will multimedia significantly provide a more effective means of instruction than non-Jews? So now you have come to know that after defining the problem, you break down the problem into, say, different categories, and you formulate or you write down the objectives or the research questions. And there are 2-3 ways. You can think of hunches, you can identify the variables, etc., or you can analyze the problem in terms of components. After you have defined the problem, the next stage is evaluation of the problem, whether the problem is feasible or worthwhile. So in terms of feasibility, you have to ask few questions. Is the problem very much specific? Is it a researchable problem? Is it a unique problem or a new one? Is it too large? Can you manage it? To what extent data is available? Am I capable of solving the problem? That is, am I prepared to undertake this study and complete it? Do I possess necessary knowledge, skills, and abilities? Can I obtain support or guidance from the experienced people? Do I have sufficient background knowledge in the area? And do I have enough time and money? And then, is the problem worthwhile? Will results advance to the existing knowledge? Will the results have some value? Will the results be of interest to others? कि क्या हमने सिर्फ shelf पे ही रखनी है, अलमीरा के shelf पे रखनी है, okay? So, evaluating the problem. So, smart guidelines to develop objectives. Specific. Avoid general statements. Include detail about what you are going to do in the problem statement. There should be a definable outcome. Explain, describe, compare, study the effect, okay, etc. Achievable. The problem should be realistic in what you hope to cover, and don't attempt too much. A less ambitious but completed objective is better than an over ambitious one that you cannot possibly achieve. Realistic. Think about logistics. Are you practically able to do what you wish to do? What are the factors you need to consider? Time, money, skills, access to sensitive information, participants' consent, etc. Because say you want to study the effect of achievement, effect of CI on achievement of students. Okay, you need to take the consent of students that I am going to deliver the course through this mode. Are you willing to take up this course? Okay, and the time constraint. That is, the researcher should be aware of the time frame of the project. Only then he will be, because in ME thesis and PhD thesis you have to prepare the time chart. That is for PhD work of 3 years duration. Kab kya karenge? And you will try to maintain that time schedule. Now this is the checklist for testing the feasibility of research problem. I'll give to you after this session is over. Now coming to the hypothesis. What is a hypothesis? It is a tentative guess. Okay, you have to experimentally verify whether the hypothesis is accepted or rejected. Okay, so a guess, an attempt to explain the nature of relationship between variables identified in the problem. I say there exists a significant relationship between the teaching experience and the achievement of students in digital electronics. There exists a significant relationship. So I am formulating a research hypothesis, and this is based upon review of literature, because number of studies are available which have indicated a similar trend. Okay, so you are formulating a research directional kind of hypothesis or research hypothesis. But if there are contradictory results, then you will formulate null hypothesis. You will say that there exists no significant relationship between the teaching experience and the achievement of students. So you will begin with null hypothesis, and you have to verify it experimentally. If the results say that there exists a relationship, then you will reject the null hypothesis, and if the result says that there is no relationship, then you will accept the null hypothesis. So a hypothesis is an educated guess, a claim or statement about a property of a population. It is the prediction of the outcome of the research study, the expected relationship. And the hypotheses are constructed in everyday life in trying to find out an answer to a problem situation. You can write it as a statement because hypotheses are stated, and you can write as many as you want. And you need to define the term precisely and clearly. Okay. So hypotheses flow from the problem statement, literature review, and theoretical framework. On the basis of the literature review, you will decide whether you are going for the research hypothesis or you are going for the null hypothesis. There are two types of hypotheses. Research hypothesis and null, that is non-existence of the effect of interaction or relationship and of difference. Say topic is to study the effect of CI on the achievement of students in digital electronics. I have told you the methodology. One group CI package will be given, to the other group conventional method will be followed. Both the groups will be given achievement test at the end of the experiment, and then you can formulate a hypothesis that there exists a significant difference in the achievement of students exposed to different instructional strategies. Or you can say there exists no significant difference. So formulation of hypothesis depends upon the literature review. If lot of studies are available and they indicate a trend in a particular direction, then you go for research hypothesis or directional hypothesis. If the study is new, literature is not available, or the literature, if it is available, the literature is giving contradictory results, then you formulate null hypothesis, that there exists no significant difference in the achievement of students exposed through different instructional strategies. So a null hypothesis is a statement of the status quo, one of no difference or no effect. If the null hypothesis is not rejected, no changes will be made. An alternative hypothesis is one in which some difference or effect is expected. So accepting the alternative hypothesis will lead to changes in the opinions or the actions. So friends, I am going to stop here, and this is about identification and defining of a research problem and formulating the hypothesis. Now before I give you one task, if you have any queries or questions, you are welcome.